Hello everyone, thank you for joining today's presentation. So we're going to be talking to you about a few things that we released in our recent release. So my name's Ashley, I'm the customer support team lead, and I'll be presenting the first half of the presentation today, and then I'll be handing over to our product manager Alex, who's going to be talking a little bit about the projects side of things. So some of the things that we included in our release was the release of green theme. We also have a login screen enhancement, report column enhancement, a scheduled email from address change, a process failure notification enhancement. I'm going to mention a little bit about Force 24 as well, and then that's when I'll be handing over to Alex about advanced projects. I would like to just add as well, if you do have any questions during the presentation, then please pop them in the chat, and we'll do our best to get to them. We'll try our best to answer them, but we may just come back to them at the end of the presentation. Okay, so green theme. So green theme, so kind of to align with our latest branding, it has been rolled out to everyone. And even though it has been rolled out to everyone, it hasn't been switched on for every user by default. So if you haven't seen it yet, we do really encourage you to go and have a go with it. You can do that by going into Start and Preferences, and then changing to green theme in your look and feel section. Some customers or some businesses set up with a system admin controlling this functionality. So again, if you are an organization that works that way, then you can do that from the configuration panel and set it for all users as well. Some changes that we made to the green theme. So we have removed the date and time from the taskbar. And in doing that as well, we have moved the notification bell and phone icon up with the recent items and search icons just to align them there on the panel. We have moved preferences and sign out from within the start menu. That's now sitting down in its own user menu. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but it does help declutter that start menu. So it is quite a nice change. And then we have made it more configurable than before. So within the config side of the green theme, you can now set the text and spacing preferences. So just a couple of examples there. So this is a screenshot of an organization landing page, and with small text and compact spacing. And if we compare that with the same landing page view with small text and medium spacing, so you can see that it's a little bit more stretched out there. And then again, if we compare that with medium text and standard spacing, you'll see that the text is slightly larger. There are slightly fewer rows on the grid. So again, as I said at the beginning, we really do encourage you to have a go with it. Go and play around with the configuration side of it and just see really what works best for you. So that brings me on to the login screen enhancement. So now you can customize your login screen from a domain-specific login page. So you'll find within the configuration section under customization, there's a new bit or a new section called sign in. So if you go in there, you'll see that there are a few things that can be changed now, such as so the logo or branding, the background image, kind of the text that displays along the terms and conditions. And again, if you have users that sign in via an authentication, so for example, Microsoft authentication, then you can remove the Google or Apple authentication buttons. And likewise with the username and password form fill, if you don't want users to use that, then you can actually remove that from the screen as well, making it a lot easier for someone to log in. The report column enhancement. So we have now displayed a description. So it's important to know that this is only in the details view. So when you're building a report, we've done this to make report building a lot easier. But if a custom field or a native field does have a description with it, then that will now display when building that report. So again, this is just to promote adding descriptions when creating new fields and things. It just has a knock-on effect and will have a benefit further down the line. Scheduled email from address. So you now have the ability to change who the scheduled email is sent from. So again, any email account that you have visibility of within your Workbooks user profile, you'll be able to set it to that user. But it is important to note that, so again, it doesn't have any bearing on the scheduled email owner. So if that user was to leave, then again, you would need to change that, just similar to before. So one change that you may be aware of is that so a change to the process failure notification. So now we have made it or given it the ability to notify a group of people rather than just an individual user. And you now have the option to notify on each failure rather than just when the process disables. What I would recommend here, or so kind of best practice here, so is to set up maybe a group of a new user group, possibly called something like process alert, because what the integration or the process will do now is if it fails and it sends out a notification, if it doesn't recognize a valid email address on that individual or group, then it will revert back to the system to notify everyone in the system admin group. So again, that may be what you would like it to do. Alternatively, setting up a notification group and kind of using that across the board may be beneficial going forward. And then Force 24, so that wasn't actually included in this release, but we do have the Force 24 integration up and running. So just a couple of things to note really. So we do have roughly 5 customers that have switched to Force 24 already. Maybe a few more than that now as well. We are using it ourselves internally, and a couple of the enhancements that have been requested are syncing form fills back into Workbooks. That's, as it says on the screen, almost ready. And if you were interested in using Force 24 and you want to book in a demo or anything like that, by the time you get around to actually using the platform, then that probably will be available. And again, creating transactional emails, so that is pretty much almost ready as well. So I would recommend as well, do look out for, we will be doing a Force 24 webinar. So if you do have an interest in that, please speak to your account manager, but please also look out for any possible invites that are sent out at a later date. So I'm now going to hand you over to Alex, our product manager, who's going to talk about advanced projects.
Before I do, I've just seen a question pop in asking what is Force 24. So for those of you that have missed it or perhaps weren't at our customer event, we've got a new integration with a new marketing automation partner. So as well as our Spotlight offering, we have now partnered up with Force 24, another UK-based marketing automation platform, and this is our new integration with them. So you've got multiple options for your marketing now. So I am only going to talk very briefly about projects because we do have a webinar on this next week. I don't want to just duplicate what we say there. So I'm just hopefully going to give you enough of a high level that if it's of interest to you, then you can go and get more detail from next week's webinar. So just to recap, we have had projects in the platform for a little while, but it's what we were referring to as simple projects. And what we've been working on is an advanced projects module, and that's been in beta up until recently. And in our last release, we've now made that available. So you can purchase the advanced projects feature as an extension on top of your existing licenses, or for those of you that would just be using projects within the tool, we're going to have project-specific additions that they can buy. Simple projects are still included in your pro licenses. And as a reminder, simple projects is only the project records, the associated project tasks and team members. Yeah, project webinar next week. The invite should be going out later today, I believe, so keep an eye out for that. So what's included in advanced project management? That's the ability to log and manage time against those project tasks, to track all of that total time that you've logged against those projects and control whether it's chargeable or not. That's managing budget against projects, so tracking a rate specific to a member, specific to the project, or maybe it's a number of days that you've got for your project. And also being able to allocate any budget across those project tasks to help manage the team and how much time they're spending on each one. You'll be able to take the combination of that logged time and that budget that you've attached to a project to work out the revenue that you've delivered for that project and be able to recognize that revenue or even use it if you use invoicing and workbooks to invoice that customer. And we've added a resource scheduler so that now that you've got tasks in there and they're signed out to people and they've got estimated efforts, well, you can see who's been allocated work, who's over allocated, who's free to pick up new things, and work around holidays or sick time or other leave in order to manage those tasks and make sure that you're going to be on plan. So just as a sneak preview, although I will jump into our demo database in a second, more specific to this release that's just happened and hadn't been in the beta program, we have created a new area for logging time for the timesheets. And this resource scheduler as well is new as of this release for managing the allocation of tasks against your users. So if I jump into our demo database. So what I will do is I'm in as Anthony Khan, who's our normal user here, but on our Springboard, and also I'm in green theme. So anyone that's not using green theme right now, you can just get a bit of a preview as to what it looks like from this. So I'm going to jump over to a project revenue dashboard. I'm just going to start talking about the sorts of things that you're going to be able to get in Workbooks as a result of having projects in Workbooks. So here, because you've got all that revenue tracking against those advanced projects now, you can see here how much time has already been delivered against things, how much revenue has already been recognized versus that's been spent so far this month. On another dashboard here, I've got overviews of how much time has been logged against my project so far. I can check that my team have been logging all their time and they're not behind on their timesheets. And I can get reports down here of, the progress of my projects. How well am I doing? This one, for example, is showing how much am I estimating that I'll spend on the project against how much we'd originally decided. So you can check, are you over or under plan? Versus this one, how far through the project do I think I am? And for those that are actually delivering those projects, they might have a dashboard like this one, where it's their set of tasks that they've been assigned. Here I've got an overview of the time that they've logged, and if they're targeted based on how much time they've delivered or revenue they're generating, you can have those sorts of targets on their dashboard. Projects is its own area within Workbooks. So for those of you that have the license or that have the Pro license, you'll see this in your start menu already. And you can see here very briefly that we're using projects for a variety of things here. So up the top, we've got customer projects, things we're delivering to our customers, and we're wanting to manage all of those advanced features of logging time, budget against those projects. But there's no reason that projects can't also be used for things like your internal projects, whether that's your marketing team delivering a new social media campaign, or whether that's you're doing a new office refurb and you just want to track how far through it is. I'm going to jump into one of the more advanced ones to give you an idea and see what that looks like. So project record will look quite similar to any other record that you've got in Workbooks. You have your main tab with all the key fields against it, but we have a summary panel on the right-hand side that gives you that overview of where you're at with the project, how much have you spent time-wise or money-wise. You have a tab for the team to manage who's on that project, and within that, what role have they got within that project? What are they able to do? Are they able to manage the budget, or are they just logging time? We've got project tasks, so similar to your activities, but here you've got the extra bit of being able to log the time against them and track the effort of those tasks. And when you log all that time, you end up with a summary of all of those time entries on a project. That feeds into our WIP tab, which is showing me in my work in progress, how much time have I logged so far this month, how much revenue do I think that's going to generate for me. And at the end of the month, once you've logged all your time for the month, your end of your billing period, you can approve these timesheets, you can manage them and make sure the budget's all distributed correctly. And at the end of that, you end up with it in the Delivered tab, which will show you your history of the revenue that you've generated each month. As I said, whistle stop tour. So the next bit I just want to show you is that we have timesheets. So users, we know that they don't necessarily log time as they go, but if they log their time at the end of the week, either way, this is a very useful view for them to be able to see, here are all the tasks that I was expected to be working on this week, and let me log some time against them and just give you that summary just to check that you've logged the full amount of time that you're expected to for the week. And if I come into our resource scheduler, another cool area of projects, here on my left-hand side, I've got all of my team members that are working on projects. Across the top, I've got the dates. It's green if they're under allocated and it's red if they're over allocated. So if we drill into Debbie, we can see what that means. Each of the projects and the tasks that she's working on, it's working out based on the effort that's remaining on that task and the time it's been scheduled for, roughly how many hours per day would you need to work on it to complete it. And it's then rolling all of that up into the top to be able to say that that's now more than her 8 hours of work per day, or 7.5 hours maybe. And what I can do in here is I can go, actually, I'm going to drag this out further, and you can see that's now adjusting the top, and that's now redistributed that time. We have other things in here, like Eddie down here has got a holiday and has been booked to do something whilst on holiday, so it's flagging up a warning because he's not going to be able to complete that task. And similarly, let's look at Andy here. We've got a task scheduled. We don't know how long it's going to be for, so it's flagging up yellow. These features and more will be shown in more detail in next week's webinar. And it is also an area of the product that we're continuing to enhance. So keep an eye out in future releases, because this isn't the end of what we're doing for projects. We will be introducing more areas. So let's have a look at some of the questions that we've had in. So first one is about feedback on the green theme. So yes, we're welcoming feedback. Please do send that through to the support team. It is still in development, so we're continuing to improve it. And therefore, yes, any feedback you have will be welcome, because we can feed that into what we're already working on. The login page, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show you that. Let's see if I can come in here. Customization, sorry. So the question was about how we deactivate the email and password boxes on the login page. So yes, that option is a little hidden. It's actually at the top here. In here, you get control of which of the things you want to show on that screen. The problem is that this only takes effect if you have also amended some other area on here, and you will get that preview down the bottom just to check that that has worked. What else have we got in here? We have a question here about the taskbar when it's on the left-hand side being narrower. What I would advise you do, because it looks like what you've got is that the full name of the window is being displayed on your buttons rather than like I've got right now. In your preferences, nope, see, even I'm going to the wrong place. In preferences, you've got this option to stack taskbar icons, and that's what's causing mine to do this right now, where rather than the full name of the page showing in the menu, showing in the bar and making it really wide, it's collapsing those buttons into just a simple button and keeping that narrow. You can also try the taskbar position in different places, so you could put it at the bottom, in which case it still stays nice and narrow because the title of the bar of the button is now going horizontally rather than across this way. I think actually that's covered most of them. Sorry, last one here. The spacing of the dashboard names in your springboard. There's no setting to control that, but do have a play around with that small and compact setting, because that might be what's impacting that. And if that's not working very well for you, please do provide that feedback to our support team and we can address that. Any more questions from anyone? Give it a couple more minutes and then I think. Okay, thank you, Andy. If you could log that with the support team, that would be really good. All right, thank you everyone. In that case, we'll end it there. Do keep an eye out for that invite to the projects webinar and also to the Force 24 webinar if you're wanting more information on that, that new option for your marketing automation.